Pods is on fire right now. Brandon Pods was absolutely locked in last night. He dropped 27 points in just 27 minutes, and he didn't waste a single shot. He went 9 for 14 from the field, and he knocked down 7 out of 9 from deep. That's 77.8% from 3. That's not just good, that's his best ever, when taking 5 or more threes. He hit all of his free throws too, finishing 2 for 2 from the line. His true shooting percentage, a wild 90.7%. That's elite level efficiency from start to finish. And get this, those 7 made threes tied his career high. Only one other Warrior younger than him has ever hit 7 or more threes in a game, and that was Steph Curry back in 2010. That's elite company. Pods is only 22, and he's already doing things that most veterans never touch. He wasn't just scoring either. He had a major hand in everything that worked last night. He snagged 6 rebounds, 1 on offense, and 5 on the defense, and dished out 5 assists too. That's 11 points generated just from passing, based on how often Golden State converts assists into buckets. When you add that to the 27 he scored himself, he directly helped rack up 38 points. He also came away with a steal, didn't commit a single foul, and had a plus 22 in the plus-minus department. That was the second highest mark on the team, only behind Draymond Green. He only turned the ball over twice, which makes his assist-to-turnover ratio 2.5 to 1. That's well above his usual number this season. He's averaging about 3.4 assists and just a little over 1 turnover a game. So this performance was clean and sharp across the board. Every pass looked smart, and every decision helped the team keep building that huge lead. Even though San Antonio was missing some of their top players like Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox, Pods still made sure to punish them for every defensive mistake. He got 4 uncontested looks from deep, and he made everyone count. It's one thing to be open, it's another to knock them down with that kind of consistency. That's what made last night so fun to watch. Golden State dropped 44 points in the first quarter alone, and Pods had 12 of those right out of the gate. He hit 2 threes and added 2 layups during that stretch, helping set the tone for the blowout. By the time it was all said and done, the 42-point win was the Warriors' biggest lead of the entire season. Now let's talk about how this performance stacks up against his season averages. He usually puts up just under 11 points a game, but he nearly tripled that total last night. He's been averaging almost 5 rebounds and around 3.5 assists per game, and he hit those marks or better too. His shooting on the season sits at about 43% from the field and 35% from 3, but those numbers are getting a nice bump after last night's clinic. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Pods. Since the All-Star break, he's been stepping it up even more. In March, he's averaging over 12 points per game while shooting almost 48% from the field and over 39% from deep. Those numbers are way up from earlier in the year, and they're starting to show just how much more consistent he's becoming as the season goes on. And don't forget, this is all coming after he dealt with a back injury earlier in the month. He missed 2 games, but has bounced back strong. He's played 30 or more minutes in 4 of the last 5 games, which is a big deal when you're talking about carving out a starting role on a team with so much talent. He's not just filling in, he's taking hold of that opportunity and making it count. Last night, Steph Curry only played 25 minutes, so Pods took on a bigger role both as a shooter and a playmaker. His 5 assists weren't just empty numbers. They kept the ball moving and helped the offense stay hot even when Curry wasn't on the floor. And his ability to move off the ball and get open for those 7 threes made a huge difference in keeping San Antonio's defense scrambling. The advanced stats back it all up too. His estimated player efficiency rating for the game was 28.9. That's double his season average, which hovers around 14.5. It's not just a one-off either. This kind of jump shows what happens when a young player puts all the pieces together for one night and takes over. This game also marked several season highs for him. The 27 points were the most he's scored in any game this season. The 7 threes tied his personal best. That 64.3% shooting from the field was the second best in any game this year, where he took at least 10 shots. Every piece of this performance checked the box. Efficient shooting, smart passing, solid rebounding, tight defense, and 0 fouls. Golden State is sitting at 43 wins and 31 losses right now, which puts them 6th in the West. Every win counts, and every player who steps up matters. Performances like this from Pods don't just add to the win column, they build momentum. They give the team another option they can count on when it matters most. And last night, he showed he's more than ready for that challenge. But when you really dive deep into it, Pods has been great this whole season. Let's talk about how he scores the ball. Brandon Pods' scoring this season has been way more impressive than people realize. He's averaging just under 11 points per game in only 26 minutes a night. But when you scale it out to per 36 minutes, he jumps up to 12.4 points. That puts him 7th among all backup point guards who've played at least 50 games this year. He's doing it on 43.3% shooting from the field, 35% from deep, and nearly 75% at the line. Add it all up, and his true shooting percentage is 54%, which is a tick above league average for guards. That matters, especially for someone coming off the bench and not getting as many easy looks. What really stands out is what he's doing in crunch time. In clutch minutes, those last 5 minutes of close games, he's shooting 48.1% from the floor and 40% from beyond the arc. That kind of poise late in games is rare, especially for a young guard who's not the primary option. He's not just floating out there, he's delivering when the game's tight and the pressure's on. Now, when you look at how he gets his points, the numbers are just as strong. 62% of his 2-point shots are unassisted. That puts him in the top 15% of backup point guards league-wide. That means he's creating those buckets for himself. He's not just spotting up, he's putting the ball on the floor and making something happen. That kind of shot creation is exactly what teams need off the bench, especially when the starters are resting and the offense could otherwise get stagnant. And when he's working off the ball, he's just as dangerous. About 45% of his made threes come from catch and shoot opportunities, and he's hitting those at nearly 39%. That's a huge weapon to have. Defenders can't just leave him alone when the ball's not in his hands. He's constantly moving, finding the open spot, and making them pay for losing track of him. He's also incredibly efficient near the rim. He's shooting 65.2% within 3 feet of the basket. That puts him in the 92nd percentile among guards. He's not the biggest guy out there, but he knows how to finish through traffic and around contact. On top of that, he draws over 3 free throw attempts per 36 minutes, which is solid for someone who's not the main ball handler. That shows he's being aggressive and getting into the paint, forcing defenders to foul or give up easy looks. Since the All-Star break, he's taken everything up a notch. In March, he's averaging 14.5 points per game while shooting over 44% from the field and a blistering 43.8% from 3. That's a massive jump from the 35% he was shooting from deep before. And he's not just having one hot night, he's stacking up these games. Against Atlanta, he dropped 19 points while hitting 5 out of 8 from beyond the arc. That's 62.5% from deep. Then came the monster game against San Antonio, where he hit 7 of 9 from 3, finishing with that unforgettable 77.8% mark. When you compare him to other backup point guards, he's right at the top in several scoring categories. His 3-point percentage is better than Cole Anthony's 34.1%. His true shooting is higher than Dennis Schroeder's 52.3%. and Peyton Pritchard's 53.1%. He's not just holding his own, he's outshooting and outscoring guys with much more experience. And his versatility adds another layer to it. He can score off the dribble, work off the ball, drive to the rim, and shoot from deep. There aren't many backup point guards with that kind of scoring range. Most of them either lean heavily on spot-up shooting or rely on pick-and-roll action to get going. Pods is doing a little bit of everything, and he's doing it efficiently. Over the last 10 games, he's taken it to a whole new level. He's putting up 17 points per game while hitting 50% from 3. That's top 3 backup production in that stretch. He's not just having a hot streak, he's showing what he can do when given more minutes and more responsibility. This isn't just a fluke run, it's real growth, and it's coming at the perfect time as the season winds down and the playoff race tightens up. And none of it's coming from overinflated usage. He's still playing within the system, still moving the ball, and still playing within his role. He's not jacking up 20 shots a game, he's just making the most of every touch. That kind of scoring efficiency makes a huge difference when you're trying to win games with limited bench production. All year long, he's shown he can adapt, whether it's filling in for injured starters, spacing the floor for the stars, or creating his own offense when the second unit's on the floor he's delivered. His scoring has gone from being a nice surprise to a reliable weapon, and that's hard to find in a young player who wasn't expected to carry a heavy load this soon. And the thing is, he's an elite rebounder too. Brandon Pods' rebounding this season has been flat out ridiculous for a guard. He's averaging just under 5 rebounds per game in 26 minutes. And when you stretch that out to a per 36-minute rate, he's pulling down nearly 7 boards every night. That puts him third among every single guard in the league who's played at least 50 games. He's only trailing Josh Giddey and Luka Doncic, 2 guys known for being oversized guards who play way more minutes. That's wild company to be in for someone who's barely in his second year. He's grabbing 1 offensive rebound per game, which doesn't sound like much until you look at what that really means. That number lands him in the 75th percentile among guards. And those extra possessions aren't going to waste. He's creating over 2 second chance points per game just by hustling for offensive boards. That's energy that doesn't show up on highlight reels, but changes the momentum of games constantly. On the defensive glass, he's averaging just under 4 rebounds per game. That's where his impact really opens things up. When he secures the rebound, he doesn't wait around. He gets it and goes. The Warriors rank 4th in transition offense when he's on the floor, and a big reason for that is how quickly he turns defense into offense. He grabs the board and gets it up the floor with purpose. That's a huge piece of what makes his rebounding so valuable. It leads to real offense, not just empty numbers. His total rebound rate is at 10.2%, which puts him in the 89th percentile among combo guards. That stat takes into account how many rebounds are available when he's on the court, and he's pulling down a big chunk of them. That's not just about being in the right place. It shows he's working, timing his jumps, and fighting for those boards every trip down. And it's not just uncontested ones either. He's grabbing almost 2 contested rebounds per game. That's top 15% for guards across the league. It means he's not just benefiting from long rebounds or cleanup duty. He's battling against bigs, getting in the mix, and coming out with the ball in traffic. You don't see many guards willing to scrap for those kinds of boards, and even fewer actually winning them consistently. He's averaging over 2 box outs per game. That's more than Tyrese Halliburton and way more than Darius Garland, both starting point guards. He's putting his body on the line, getting position, and making sure his team secures the rebound, whether he grabs it or not. That's a level of effort and physicality that usually comes from power forwards or centers, not sophomore guards. Compared to other guards in the league, his numbers are elite. His rebounds per 36 minutes rank 3rd, right behind Giddey and Doncic. His offensive rebounding, that 1 per game, beats out guys like Jalen Brunson and De'Aaron Fox. And those aren't just role players, they're all-star caliber guards. That's how effective Pods has been on the glass. He's also part of a very rare group this season. He's one of only 5 guards in the league putting up at least 4.9 rebounds, 3.4 assists, and over 1 steal per game. The others in that group, Luka Doncic, Josh Giddey, and Cade Cunningham. That's elite, versatile company. It shows how much he contributes across the board, but the rebounding is what makes him truly stand out among that group. The Warriors are noticeably better on the boards when he's out there. With him on the floor, they're grabbing over 3 more rebounds per 100 possessions than when he's on the bench. Without him, they actually get out-rebound. That's a real swing. He's helping them win the battle on the glass, which directly ties to winning games. And even in crunch time, when most guards are worried about ball movement or defending pick and rolls, Pods is still hitting the glass. He averages nearly 1.5 rebounds in clutch minutes. For a guard in late game situations, that's huge. Those rebounds are harder to get, more contested, and way more valuable. He's locking in when it matters most. He's also shown steady year-over-year growth. As a rookie, he actually averaged more rebounds per game, 5.8 in 26.5 minutes. But that came in a different role. His per 36 mark was 8 rebounds that year. This season, even with a slight drop to 6.8 per 36, he's remained incredibly efficient. That dip isn't about effort. It's about adjusting to different lineups, spacing, and responsibilities. And yet he's still rebounding better than almost every other guard in the league. If you project his production into a playoff setting where the pace slows down and rebounds become harder to find, he's still tracking toward over 5.5 rebounds per game. That's playoff pace. That kind of consistency holds real weight when the games get tighter and every possession starts to matter more than ever. His 10.2% rebound rate and over 2 box outs per game put him in a tier with elite defenders and high-effort rebounders, even guys who play in the front court. It's rare for a guard to be that involved in the dirty work, and it's even rarer for that to lead to team-wide rebounding success. But the numbers say it all. The Warriors win the rebounding battle when he's on the floor. Just for fun, his per 36 rebounding numbers actually beat Draymond Green's rookie season. Draymond averaged 6.5 boards per 36 minutes that year. Pods is doing better than that right now, and he's doing it from the backcourt. That's no small feat. It's an all-effort, all-hustle stat that shows what he's bringing every single night. There's no question that Pods' rebounding is elite for his position. It's not just about athleticism, it's about instincts, timing, and the willingness to fight. That kind of impact is rare from a guard, and it's one of the biggest reasons he's becoming a difference maker for Golden State this season. He might not be towering over guys, but he plays way bigger than his size, and the numbers prove it every single night. And the thing is, he's a great passer too. Brandon Pods' passing this season has been way more impactful than most people realize. He's averaging 3.4 assists per game in just 26 minutes of action, which doesn't jump off the page at first glance, but it should. He's doing all this while only turning the ball over 1.1 times per game, which puts his assist to turnover ratio at an elite 3.1 to 1. That number ranks top 15 among all guards who've played at least 50 games this season, and he's not even a primary ball handler. That's wildly efficient. If you stretch out his numbers to a per 36-minute pace, he jumps up to 4.7 assists per game. That's up a full assist from what he averaged as a rookie last year. It shows growth, poise, and a deeper understanding of how to play within the Warriors system. He's not forcing anything. He's just making the right plays at the right time. He's also generating over 6 potential assists per game. That means he's creating chances for teammates to score, even if the shot doesn't fall. Based on tracking estimates, the Warriors are hitting 44.4% of their field goals off his passes. That means his passes aren't just simple swing passes, they're leading to real scoring opportunities. Digging into the advanced numbers, his assist percentage sits at 18.6%. That's better than guys like Buddy Hield and Gary Payton II, both of whom get plenty of minutes and touches. That assist percentage shows how often a player is responsible for creating a teammate's made basket while on the floor, and Pods is holding his own, and then some against guards with bigger roles. The versatility in his passing is what makes it even more impressive. Nearly half of his assists, 45%, come off drive and kick actions. He gets into the lane, draws help, and finds the open man waiting on the perimeter. That's elite for an off-ball guard, especially someone who splits his time between spacing the floor and creating off the dribble. Another 30% of his assists come in transition. That's where the Warriors thrive. And when he's out there, their fast break numbers take a jump. They rank 4th in fast break points with him on the court. And that's no coincidence. He's pushing the tempo and making good decisions on the move. Even the smaller things, like secondary assists, show how much he's contributing. He's averaging 1.2 hockey assists per game. That's when a pass leads to another pass that results in a made basket. It doesn't show up in the traditional assist column, but it's a huge part of the Warriors' motion offense. He keeps the ball moving, reads the defense, and creates rhythm for everyone else. When you compare him to other guards, the numbers back it up. His assist-to-turnover ratio beats Emmanuel Quickley's 2.8 and Cole Anthony's 2.5. He's had at least 5 assists in 12 different games this year, including a 7-assist night against Orlando and a 5-assist performance against San Antonio. He even recorded 1 double-digit assist game this season, which is 1 more than Quickley's managed so far. That's saying something for someone who's not the lead guard on his team. His clutch playmaking has been just as reliable. In the last 5 minutes of close games, he averages 2.1 assists and only half a turnover. That gives him a clutch assist-to-turnover ratio of 4.2 to 1. That's not just good. That's one of the best marks you'll see for any guard, especially one in his role. In one game against Chicago, he racked up 7 assists with 0 turnovers in a 21-point win. That kind of control is rare, and it keeps the offense flowing when things get tight. Comparing his numbers from last season to now shows real development. As a rookie, he averaged 3.7 assists with a 3.1 assist-to-turnover ratio. This year, he's at 3.4 assists with that same ratio, despite having a slightly expanded role and more responsibility. The consistency there is a good sign. It means he's not losing efficiency even as he's asked to do more. Within the Warriors system, his fit couldn't be better. About a quarter of his assists go to Steph Curry, averaging 1.2 per game. That shows how well he plays off their star, drawing attention, making smart reads, and hitting Curry in spots where he can attack. Another 15% of his assists go to Draymond Green, often in dribble handoff actions. That speaks to his feel for how the Warriors operate. Constant motion, quick decisions, and unselfish passing. It's clear that Pods' playmaking isn't just about racking up numbers. It's about understanding the flow of the offense, recognizing when to attack, and knowing when to move the ball. He's not trying to rack up flashy assists. He's making the right pass, even if it means someone else gets the credit 2 passes later. And as Curry ages, his role is only going to expand. The Warriors are going to need more ball movement, more creation, and more guards who can make plays without turning the ball over. Pods is already proving he can do that. Based on his current growth, it's realistic to expect he could average over 5 assists per game as a full-time starter in the future. He's not flashy, but he's reliable. He sees the floor, he keeps the turnovers low, and he makes the right play. That kind of steady playmaking is hard to find, and even harder to teach. And for a guy who's still only in his second year, the maturity and control he's showing with the ball is ahead of schedule. Pods doesn't need to dominate the ball to make a real impact. His passing fits the system, boosts the offense, and helps win games. Whether it's a drive and kick, a transition dime, or a quick decision in a half-court set, he's always reading, reacting, and delivering. The stats say he's already one of the best passers among backup guards, and the way he's trending, he's not stopping there. And the thing is, the Warriors are always better when he's on the floor. Brandon Pod's on-off numbers this season show just how important he's become to Golden State's success. When he's on the court, the Warriors outscore opponents by 8.4 points per 100 possessions. That's not just solid, that's elite. And when he sits, they get outscored by 1.2. That's a swing of 9.6 points per 100 possessions, which is one of the highest on the entire roster. Only Draymond Green and Steph Curry have better differentials. That's the kind of number that usually belongs to star, not second-year guards coming off the bench. Offensively, his presence makes a massive difference. When he's on the floor, the Warriors' offensive rating is 118.7. That's the kind of number you see from top-tier offensive units. But when he's off the floor, that rating drops all the way to 110.3. That's a drop of over 8 points. And it highlights how much value he brings through his spacing, ball movement, and shot creation. It's not just scoring, it's playmaking too. The team's assist rate jumps from 58.1% without him to 62.3% with him on the court. That's a big jump, especially in a system like Golden State's where movement and passing are everything. His presence helps unlock the offense, especially when the ball isn't in Curry's hands. He knows when to make the extra pass, when to cut, and how to keep the motion flowing. Defensively, he's having a major impact as well. With him on the court, the Warriors allow 110.3 points per 100 possession. When he's off, that number jumps to 113.2. That's a difference of nearly 3 points, and it's directly tied to how active and disruptive he is. He's averaging 1.1 steals per game, and those steals lead to an extra 2.1 fast break points per game when he's in the lineup. His ability to create chaos on the perimeter feeds right into the Warriors' transition game, which is one of their biggest strengths. The synergy with Curry and Draymond Green is no accident either. When Pods and Curry share the floor, the Warriors have a net rating of plus 12.1 in over 1,200 minutes together. That's an elite number. And with Draymond, that combo jumps even high, a plus 14.3 net rating. Those two-man pairings show how well he fits into the core of what Golden State's trying to do. His timing, decision-making, and feel for the game elevate everyone around him. Even when you remove Curry from the equation, Pod still holds his own. Without Curry, the team's net rating drops to minus 3.5, but that's still better than most of their other bench units. It shows that while Curry's gravity makes everyone better, Pods' presence still keeps the floor spaced, the ball moving, and the defense active. Compared to other guards around the league, his impact stands out. Among all Warriors rotation players, his plus 9.6 net differential ranks third. That's ahead of Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and even some starters around the league. When you put his numbers next to other starting guards, they stack up surprisingly well. Tyrese Halliburton has a net differential of plus 7.1. De'Aaron Fox is at plus 5.8. Pods' numbers are better than both, and he's doing it in fewer minutes with a smaller role. Now compare him to other backup guards, and it becomes even clearer. Cole Anthony has a net differential of just plus 2.3. Emmanuel Quickley is at plus 4.1. Pods nearly doubles those numbers. He's not just doing his job, he's elevating the entire team when he's on the floor. That's the mark of a player who's more than just a solid bench piece. His impact also shows up in lineup data. The Warriors' most effective five-man units this season almost always include him. The ball moves better, the pace picks up, and the team plays with more rhythm when he's involved. That's not just eye tests. The numbers confirm it over and over again. He's not a player who needs to dominate the ball or rack up volume stats to make his mark. His shooting, passing, and defensive awareness all blend perfectly into Golden State's system. And that system thrives when he's out there. The on-off numbers don't lie. When he plays, the team wins possessions. When he sits, they lose them. Even in high leverage moments, he holds up. His net rating in clutch situations stays positive, and his low turnover numbers help keep the offense steady. He doesn't force things. He reads the floor, makes the right pass, and keeps the team organized. That kind of maturity is rare for a young guard, and it's one of the reasons his on-off splits are so strong. This isn't a small sample either. These numbers come from months of consistent play. His role has grown throughout the year, and the team's performance has consistently trended upward when he's involved. That kind of sustained impact over a long stretch of games means it's not a fluke. It's real, and it's repeatable. With Curry getting older and rotations tightening up, players like Pods become even more valuable. He gives the Warriors flexibility, stability, and a spark whenever he checks in. His ability to swing the team's net rating by nearly 10 points proves he's a winning player in every sense of the word. And as the playoffs approach, that impact becomes even more important. Games slow down, benches shrink, and every possession matters more. Having a guard who can keep the team's offense clicking and make smart defensive plays without turning the ball over is a huge asset. Pods is proving every night that he's ready for that spotlight. He doesn't need 20 shots or highlight reels to show his value. The numbers are doing all the talking, and they're saying he's one of the most impactful rotation guards in the league right now. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.